Hey everybody, it's Savage Lands News once again, this time with another special guest, Jose Lau, who just crushed it in the Singapore PTI event. First place on Rhinar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crush is an exaggeration, but yeah,
Well,
that's kind of close.
you won, crushed it, champion.
Yes.
We know. So, you want to let's dive into your background a little bit. So, where are you located?
Okay, so I'm from Singapore. We've had like a pretty vibrant scene. I came in right about the time that started to take off.
Okay.
Yeah, just
And
generally representing the Southeast Asian scene.
that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, is the community good out there? Is the competition high?
Oh, it's actually really interesting. Okay, so Singapore is a really small country, so
Okay.
so the interesting part is for some reason we have like a lot of card game enthusiasts. It's kind of like miniature Japan.
Okay.
So we have like an armory every day and like multiple stores that we can go to, and like within like 1 hour of like public transport, more or
Wow.
less.
Every day?
Yes, every day. So like for example, on Monday I can like pick between two stores, or like Wednesday I can pick between two stores. On Thursday it's a bit dry, but like besides that, it's like really happening.
I'm gonna have to fly over there and play against you guys. That sounds fun.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's really fun. So the
So
interesting thing is like the average player is really, I would say the average like Singaporean is pretty good at Flesh and Blood.
yeah.
Yeah, like but the top players it's like every country, right? Like every country has like a few like players who are like exceptionally good. Yeah.
Interesting. I had no idea. I mean, I've played against a couple guys during my tournaments here, and
Ooh,
everybody from that area seemed really good. So it's like
thank you.
well practiced, well seasoned. That's awesome. So why? How did you get into Flesh and Blood specifically over all the other card games?
Okay. So I came from Magic.
Okay.
It was around the time whereby like I'm not sure whether you didn't come from Magic, yeah. So
No TCG background for me.
yeah, that's like a bit of a like they've been making some like, pretty bad decisions, like namely like some of the sub formats have been like dying out, and like they have been making like it's hard to describe, but like basically Magic
Okay.
has been like on a series of bad decisions. And my friend introduced me to the card game. He introduced me to Keyforge before. I like played one tournament and disappeared because I never got
Okay.
hooked onto it. But yeah, he brought me down to like a store, passed me like one of the store's like own made beginner decks, and like I just got hooked on like the tempo experience, right? Like the back and
Yeah.
forth of Flesh and Blood. So yeah, he passed me Rhinar and I intimidated him. He was like, the look on his face, right, just sold me on the deck immediately. Yeah.
So you started on Rhinar.
Yes. Back then, Singapore only more or less played Blitz. So, and Rhino was
Okay.
like in an okay position back then.
Huh. So did you start
Yeah.
with like a WTR, like all the way back then?
We started after Monarch.
Oh,
No,
okay,
right
okay.
before. I started right before Monarch. I think the first batch that came to Singapore was right after CIU first release.
Oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. So not super long in the game, but long enough to kind of see like the iterations. That's awesome. So
Yeah, yeah.
you know, you kind of described it. It was the reason you picked Rhinar was the intimidate. You kind of saw it early. Have you played any other heroes?
Um, okay, so I've like quote unquote defected a few times.
Okay.
The first time where I like seriously considered like, is it now a good time for Rhinar? Like surprisingly, I went through it during the Monarch period. It was when Briar came out. I was like, okay, maybe not. The first thing I tried was Oldhim, but
Okay.
I don't like Guardian Mirrors. Then I
Yes.
played Lightning Lexi for like a good period of time during the Stavo meta. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I
Yes.
defected too. Exactly the same thing. Started off on Levia, then
Oh.
Briar came out, and I defected. I was like, this is impossible. I played
I
Viscerai,
actually
traded, dude. Trader. I'm a big
Right. I
trader
played a
also.
lot of Levia actually. Like I tried for a really long time. But the thing is like I've always like 9th, 10th place. I never could like top 8 anything with Levia.
Same.
And the deck worked, right? It's just that like, like other decks are just slightly better. And notably recently I went to Islander. Yeah. For Worlds and like our national season I played Islander.
I mean, Icelander's a great choice. You
She's
can't,
insane.
yeah, can't
Yeah.
really blame you for that. I mean, when it comes to winning, you got to go where you got to go. You know.
Yeah.
So what made you pick Rhinar in this last event, right? So you're playing Icelander at Worlds, and then I saw you talking in the brute chat a little bit about like who am I going to play, and then you just picked Rhinar right before.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I was actually in the chat with Nathan. Nathan, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, so the day before I was like, I haven't been practicing because like after coming back from Worlds, like I played like in one event with like the Islander deck. I did well, but like that was honestly a fluke. So I played an army the night before, like Battle Hardened. I played terribly on Islander, and I believe
Oh,
that Islander's a deck whereby you need to play like really sharp.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you know what, just Rhinar. And I've been playing like Rhinar casually doing armories. It's never like quite worked out, honestly.
Mhm.
So like I was like not feeling good about it. But I was like, okay, screw it, let's play Rhinar. Yeah. And the list I ran between the Battle Harder and the PTI are different. The one from I have to call credit out to like Alexander Dobler, which top 8'd our Battle Harden.
Okay.
I basically edited his list because like whatever he was doing was working a lot smoother than what I was doing. Yeah.
That's almost identical to what happened to me. Nationals, same thing. I was practicing Dromai. I put Rhinar in the closet because I just always kept getting him this close to the finish line, but not quite there. And then all the Fais showed up, and I just was carrying Rhinar in my backpack. And I took him out, went into the pro quest, and got 14th place. And I was like,
oh,
huh.
not bad. Not bad.
And it was the same thing. I took Clay's list, and I was like, he must be doing something that's working. I kind of iterated. Yeah, I iterated on a little bit, and I was like, wow, this does work. And it's basically the same thing. I think Rhinar's kind of fallen into the meta a little bit on accident.
Yeah.
So how do you think he's positioned right now, and with the new cards coming out, the meta kind of evolving a little bit? You know, he was pretty good in the last season with the slower decks, Isylander, Oldhim. You know, he had an okay-ish matchup into Fai. How do you think he's positioned in the future?
Okay, so my take is that LSS knows what they're doing, and like Rhinar's job or like what they have in mind is that he's like the control killer, right?
Yeah.
Like his job is to like make sure Oldhim never like dominates the meta game. So I would say that's kind of where he stands. But what I found right with like this build is that your bad matchups aren't like unwinnably bad. Like I think he's like roughly tier 1.5. The thing is he doesn't have like the raw power that like forces other decks to like have to be afraid of him. And if he ever becomes like tier 1 or tier 0, like the game would probably suck because everyone will just be intimidating each other. There'll be like no gameplay. But I would say like a solid tier 1.5 if your like meta has like a lot of Oldhim and like generally slower decks, right? Whereby like you can trade with them. Namely like not like other mid-range decks that are just better than you. So like say Dash or Viscerai. I think he would be pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if Rhinar ever gets too fast, it's going to be worse than Starvo, right?
Yeah, it just sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just going to intimidate your hand and kill you faster than you can kill him. Yeah. So let's get into your event. So, what was your final score during this PTI event? Like, and how did your games generally go? Like, what were your matchups?
Okay, it was a relatively small event. It was a 5-round Swiss plus a 3-round top 8. I went 4-1. I beat 3 Briar and 1 Viscerai, and I lost to. I know, right? And I lost to a Lexi. The Swiss generally, the deck was performing amazing. I actually got like a cold foil scab skin like at Worlds. Yeah, so I was like, okay, this is the first time I brought it out, and I'm telling you that thing works like a charm.
I'm gonna have to use mine. I can't wait.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Like I was like, I just brought it as a joke. I was like, I'll just bring in the heavier gear, and like scab skin started working. Yeah, so my take is that the Briar matchups have never been awful. Like it's not favored. Like but it's not like something that I am like actively afraid of. Cause I'll talk about it later, like regarding like deck, like the idea of the deck. But as long as you can draw Blood Rush like within your first 4-5 hands, you stand a really good chance because you can still trade with them. And like Briar doesn't really do anything that's like too excessive unless they hit like Channel Mount Heroic and Force of Nature.
Yeah.
But when they your odds to hit Blood Rush is about the same as them. So
the decks are conceptually pretty similar, right? 3-card superpower play, and then the rest of the deck is like, I mean, they're probably faster on their average turn, but you know.
Yeah, but you can block, and it's not that
exactly.
bad.
Yeah.
And and the deck. Okay, on that day the deck was hot. Okay, for the first time I drew Blood Rush in 3 consecutive turns. I've never done that before.
Oh my god.
I was against one of the Briars. I was like, holy crap. I faced 2 Briars, 1 Viscerai, 1 Mirror, and 1 Viscerai, and 1 like Ice Lexi.
Okay.
Yes, the Mirror is a friend. He's mostly there just to chill, honestly. He's more of a Levia player, but he was like, Rhinar got support, I'll play Rhinar.
Yeah.
He did like 17 damage to me on turn 0.
Oh,
and I won that game, but that's because his deck is really outdated.
Yeah.
Because he's running like Savage Feast and Bring Night Batteries, and he's not sure how to maximize like Rhinar's hands.
Okay.
Yeah, he like turn 1, turn 0, like he's on the play. He pitched Blood Rush, discarding Beast Within. Then he claw Savage beat down me.
Oof.
And I like a Reckless Swing stuck in hand, so I like could return like 3 damage because he Beast Within and Reckless Swing. But yeah, he did 17. I was like, okay, the entire game I was just like trying to claw back in.
Yeah, sometimes in the mirror they just hit you that hard turn one. You're like, oh man, I better get lucky.
But it definitely matters, like your ideas in the mirror. Like if you play like good Flesh and Blood, you can like skill matters in the mirror.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. It's a mid-range deck, right? Like there's a lot of skill expression in Rhinar for sure. For sure. So did you have like a favorite game from that day?
The last match.
Oh, what was it?
Yes. Okay, so it was against Oldhim, so it was actually an interesting top 8. So by the time I finished in the quarters I fought Levia. It was the non-blood deck version for the most part. Yeah, it was an interesting build though. Like the guy's a very innovative deck builder, but basically he just had intimidate difference. My blood rushes had intimidate, his didn't, so I could like get over his defense, he couldn't get over mine.
Yeah.
Then after the quarters, I just started watching like the Oldhims beat everything else. So like after I got through the semis, which was Lexi, the same guy in the Swiss, I was watching basically like an Oldhim versus a Fai, and on the other end, wait, no, was it? No, I was watching an Oldhim mirror. So at the end, I was just like, okay, either one of you is coming to me.
Okay. So, I mean, and Oldhim's one of our better matchups, I would say, on average.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. I mean, to see the two Oldhims as your possible competition in the top 8, you're probably feeling pretty okay. Would you say so?
My friends actually like went home early after he saw the Oldhim semis. He's like, Jose's got this. He just went home without me.
Yes,
which is okay, but yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've dropped an Oldhim game yet in a major tournament. It's one of our best matchups, probably.
I don't think it's possible for the Oldhim, but they have to be like teched for it in a way.
Yeah, they can win. They can for sure win. Good Oldhims will make it really hard, but yeah, it's probably our best matchup. So, do you have any plugs? Anything you want to get out of the way before we dive into your deck tech? Any social media, anything like that?
Yeah, I have an Instagram. I also alter cards. Nothing in my like range of reach, but yeah, okay. I'll you'll leave it in the description. I think it's easier.
Yeah, I'll put it in the description. I'll put it up on the TV or on the screen too.
Yeah. Besides that, you can contact me on like anywhere. Like on Discord, I'm Featherlord, or on Twitter, I'm like Pitch2 Swing Club. Like 2 as in the number.
That's a pretty good handle. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's dive into it. So we're going to go through the deck list, go over the cards, and then after that, we'll get into matchups. All right. All right. So he's got it up on the screen here. You want to just take us through, kind of talk about any key cards, any key decisions you made here? Yeah, take it away.
Okay. So the idea of the deck list is it's a claw deck list first. I feel that club is a bit slow. That said, you still include club for like ice matchups because they're like low economy matchups, right?
Okay.
The idea of the deck in general is that your goal is to get off like a smooth blood rush, so like an 18 damage blood rush somewhere in the game, and besides just do Rhinar things and trade well, so like throw swing bigs at them and block efficiently. Savage Beatdown is an interesting card because if you think about it, if you do pulping into Savage Beatdown, it's equivalent to like a blood rush in terms of damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I had like hopes for Rhinar for this like particular set.
Interesting.
Yes. Besides that, a key idea of the deck is that every single red that's not alpha or Savage Beatdown is pummelable with a tunic.
Interesting.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, I realized that Oldhim's like CNC pummel is insane, so I was trying it. And the idea of 3 yellow pummels, I don't like any other kind of pummels, but like exactly 3 yellow pummels make your hand a lot like more active.
Okay. So you have pretty standard equipment up there at the top, right? Nothing really special there. But in the main board, I see all of the barraging beatdowns. Is there any reason you're running all of them all the time? Or do you ever take them out?
I've tried at the start of the expansion, whereby like I tried cutting barraging beatdowns to test out Berserk.
Okay.
I cut the red and yellows, and like it felt like you couldn't close any games.
Yeah.
Like the Rhinar, which is Rhinar's best strength, right? Like your closing power. So, the red ones are always efficient. Like with Claw less so, but like it's still a 2 cut 7.
Yeah, for sure.
That screws over your opponent's hand.
Yeah.
The yellow ones a bit worse, but like the premium of having the ability to like open those Rhinar hands whereby you can intimidate 3 and swing your weapon is like it's a lot. I wouldn't cut it. That's the thing. There's not much that's like better than that.
And what about those reincarnates there? What was your thought process on those? Because that's a new addition, and you know it's like a regular 3 for 6, right?
Yeah. This main deck is like for Fai. The idea of reincarnate is, in some matchups I don't want pummel, and some matchups I don't want alpha. So against Fai I don't want alpha, right?
Okay.
And it's a yellow 6 that like fills your ratio,
Hmm.
and that's like all it does. It doesn't need to do anything special.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's another 6 that's yellow, right? It just is pitch value.
Yeah, it's never exciting. I don't think it did anything throughout the weekend, but like the art is
Yeah.
cool. It could probably be a route up, but like, yeah.
That's true. That is true. And I mean, another interesting card there is Skullcrack, right? So I've been trying to measure Skullcrack recently, like its effectiveness
Yes.
with the discard cards. Did it enable you to do anything special during the tournament, or what do you think about that card in general?
Okay, so the idea of Skullcrack is good in like exactly one like two decks. One is rock and two is a
Okay.
deck whereby you want to like, cause the 2 costs are very easy to blood rush out, whereas the 3 costs like I felt it's been quite wonky. You gotta draw a second blue or something to do like a claw blood rush. So the Skullcracks also serve the benefit of being pummelable with a tunic.
Okay, that
And
makes sense.
yeah, you shouldn't like try to discard it. It's like whatever if you discard it. But really, it's there for like a 2 for 6 that you can block for 3. You don't ask for much from your deck. Yeah.
That makes
But
sense.
it did like give me like an easy savage beatdown somewhere in the tournament. I can't remember when. I was like, it flipped off a pulping or something. I was like, ooh, free money.
When you
Yeah.
get when you get Savage Beatdown off, it feels so good. It's incredible.
It's
And
addictive. Yeah.
it really is. Okay, and then I mean, that all you got there? Is that in the main board and the sideboard? I'm guessing
Oh no,
sideboard.
I've pre-tagged this for fire. It's in the sideboard. Yeah, usually it's
Okay.
like pulping or something. Yeah, pulping alpha.
And the only other 2 interesting cards there, so I think we can get into the sideboard probably. I'm guessing these cards synergize with club, but you have Pulping, Wild Ride, and you have Unmovable there in your sideboard as options. So
Yes.
those are all interesting choices. So you want to give me some insights there?
Okay, actually, my take right is that pulping and okay, so wall ride is niche. When you go wall ride, you all in, so you run a maximum of 2 sing belows. Everything else is like built to combo. You take out your pulpings, put in reincarnate.
Okay.
I feel like pulping is more of a flexible card because even if it misses and it will miss, your opponent's still forced to block.
Yeah.
Yeah. That said, you still run these into okay. I've been like destroyed by Ice Lexi on like the Battle Hardened, so I don't bought any of these in anymore against Ice Lexi because
Okay.
they get trapped in your hand.
Yeah.
But you do run both of these with Club against Islander. But normally it's better with Claw because it just makes your hands very active.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the Unmovables?
Oh yeah. This card is like a tech card. Like it's your flexible slot. I would prefer it to be like 1 energy potion, 1 fit foreseen. But on that particular day, I was expecting like 2 really good Bravos to be playing, so I just added that.
So it's just tech.
Yeah.
You knew some players that were probably
Yeah.
going to be there.
Notably,
so.
it sucks against Oldhim. Yeah, it sucks against Oldhim.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
even
really
run
bad.
D-Reacts in the Oldhim. I don't need them.
I think the 3 things are okay.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt you. I just like to keep the pressure up against Oldhims is what I've noticed. But
Yeah.
against Bravo, absolutely. D-Reacts, please. It's so
Yeah, you
scary.
kind of need them in case they start to beat you up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So any other things you want to call out about the deck before we jump into the sideboard and the matchups?
I would say that that's like, cause honestly, this is the PTI was the first time I ran this deck and like
Okay.
it works smooth. So there's probably like a lot of iterations to be made to be improved. Maybe Savage Beatdown is bad, but like it's good sometimes. So maybe not. And like of course like some tech that you can have, like say if you're not afraid of fire, there's none in local meta cause like your country has more dash. You can like cut the that's all you got.
Okay.
But yeah, generally the core I wouldn't touch. Maybe add 1 more blue, but like I didn't know I was in the minority of the belief that Rhinar wants more than 17. I've always been running 17.
Yeah.
18 with an energy potion. Yeah.
Yeah, 17 to 20 is what I'm seeing now, but I'm on 17 also. 17, 18. Into Icelander,
Yeah.
I'm starting to maybe tack a couple more in the sideboard, like some blue pummels, but we'll see. Okay.
Yeah.
So should we jump into into matchups?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. So 5 first, I guess?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so the default list is okay. So in Singapore we have a crap load of 5. So
Yeah.
like I want like a smooth deck list into 5. Okay, so the idea of this 16 to 5 is that like it's very consistent. Like everything blocks for 3. You're still running claws because you got the club is too slow. They'll just chip you to death. Their 4-3-3-1 is better than your like club swing.
Yeah. You gotta
In a
you gotta
way.
catch up with the blood rush, right?
Yeah, it's like a catch-up thing, and you kind of have to high roll. It's an aggro matchup. So by high roll, I mean draw blood rush. So
Yeah.
not that high. Yeah. But yeah, besides that, it's just trading, and I honestly don't think the matchup is like awful. That said, I haven't fought like many Fai that go for pouncing links. That
Okay.
sounds miserable, but not even that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't dropped a Phi game in either of the major tournaments. I mean, it's very tight and it can easily go wrong, but like, you know, they're just so bad at blocking, right? Like if you block really well, trade, get them down low to the point where they have to block, their deck kind of disintegrates, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't say block out. I would say you're forced to trade, right? Something like
Yeah,
Clay's
trade.
idea, whereby a notable exclusion is Red Smash Instinct. That card's really good into Fai though. Like
Oh, it's
the
so
fact
good in
it's a
the
three
Phi.
for seven.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's so
just
good.
don't like it. I've tried it. It's okay, but
I
like
can
I
see
tried to
that.
make this deck this smooth. Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so any advice you have against Phi's? I know it's one of your typical Rhinor's like worst
Yeah.
matchups, right? So do you have any advice?
Yeah. You have to play fast, and you have to like kind of like you can't wait to lose in a way. Like right now
Yeah.
you can't really. That's like all matchups, right? Like nowadays in modern Flesh and Blood, you have to be the proactive one. You have to like actively chip them down. You have to be okay with like taking trades to return like damage, even though you're like slowly losing out because Rhinar has the execute thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
And like
and
you have to be okay with losing if you don't draw Blood Rush. It just happens.
yeah, I mean that's Rhinar sometimes, right? If you don't draw the Blood Rush, you just kind of
Yeah.
it's just like when Briar doesn't get a channel mount. It's just too bad.
Yeah, you're just playing an okay deck.
Yeah, you're playing
Yeah.
okay deck. Okay, I mean let's go into Iyslander. I think that's another one of the major concerns of most people, right?
Okay, so I've played a crap load of Isylander. I believe that I get the matchup, like I understand the matchup really well. So
Okay.
you can't block Isylander out. She has the one with like all the pressure, right, in a way. Like, and she's doing like that physical attack trading thing, which honestly like felt awful to play to play Rhinar as.
Okay.
Because they are like being more efficient than you.
Yes.
One thing to understand is Icelander's blocking is very delicate.
Okay.
You have, if you throw one intimidate in, you might just screw up the entire hand.
Yes, I've noticed
Yes.
that a lot. Yeah, it's like our most
Yes.
powerful mechanic into Iyslander.
Yeah. It's not as good. It's not as good as people make it out. It's really, I believe like a capable Icelander pilot makes it a 50-50. But you basically force their hand. You're forced to run like club in a way because like pulping into club is so powerful to them.
Okay.
And like you don't want to like instantly lose to hypothermia. Yeah.
Yeah, so you run club into Iyslander.
Yes. I think Pommel is bad, by the way. I haven't tested it. I might be wrong, but I think it's
Okay.
bad to Icelander because if they see it coming, they just throw their hand and you like lose out.
Yeah, it depends, I think, but yeah, I kind of agree. Like, it's a hard one, right? Because like when they do block effectively and you pull their that card that they were really planning on playing, it does mess up their arsenal cycle pretty bad. But then they can also just turtle, right? It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Iyslander is a hard matchup in general, right? There's a bit of luck and a lot of skill into it, right?
Yeah, and if they get like an early insidious chip, right? If Rhinar can't play his 5-card hands, you can't really push damage sometimes.
Yeah, and if they just
Yeah.
happen to have a channel mount or a channel lake frigid and a hypothermia on every one of your blood rushes, like there's just not much
Yeah.
you could do.
I actually have an interesting take. The Blood Rush isn't a power card when you're playing club. You have to treat it like a better barraging beatdown.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can Blood Rush and swing club, right? And that's a perfectly valid hand. Like, because to do well with Blood Rush on a club build, you need the second action point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and against like Iyslander, you are running Naurun, so
Okay.
I wouldn't gamble that unless I'm desperate. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean I don't play clubs, so I guess that's one of the things I was missing, right? That
Oh.
makes a lot of sense. You
Yeah.
know what I've been teching is the new boots into Iyslander.
I've considered that, but the thing is
into Viscerai and Iyslander, I've been doing it.
I
It just
don't
works.
think it's bad. It's definitely like a matchup thing because it's what Levy has been doing, right? They used to run like hooves plus Goliath Gauntlet, apparently.
Yeah, well, I'll
Um,
run the null rune gloves and the AB helmet, but like
Yeah.
I'll do like I'll put a savage beatdown in Arsenal or not really savage beatdown in Iyslander,
Oh.
but I'll put something big in Arsenal and then I'll do a savage feast, crack the boots, come in for a swing big and pull a tempo term, or on a blood rush because it generates an action point automatically. You can you can boots on the blood rush and then it doesn't matter if they have a
you can club
hypothermia or
swing and
not.
savage beat down them. Damn.
Yeah, you can swing big into a savage beatdown. You can swing big into swing big. You can do something like that
That's interesting.
without
Like,
without worrying about a hypothermia at all.
Yeah, that does help. Maybe I don't know. Cause the more I played against Iyslander, I realized that like raw armor helps a lot. There was
Oh, for
a
sure,
time where
yeah.
cause I like to I like to push my deck list to like the limit, right? I didn't run Skullhorn for some period of time because Crown of Providence is perfectly fine in Islander, if you think about it.
Wow,
Yeah,
we're gonna
you
have
block
to.
3. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to see your. We're gonna have to post up like a matchup guide or something like that because I'm really interested. Maybe we can catch a game of like you and Icelander because you seem to have a very distinct strategy, which is different, way different than mine. So this is really interesting.
Yeah, and that's coming from like playing a crap load of Islander myself. It's
Yeah,
like it's once you become, and considering most people aren't familiar with Rhinar hands, right? Because he's never been really meta. So people don't get like how like bad his hands are in a way.
yeah,
Like sometimes you open your hand and you like see 3 yellows and a red, and like you can't really do anything with the hand. Like
Yep.
a lot of people play afraid of Rhinar, so you can kind of give him his hand sometimes. Sometimes, yeah.
yeah. It's really
But
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna have to. We're gonna have to talk some more about Icelander matchup because that is historically my worst matchup, right? In
interesting.
every one of my tournaments, I've lost like 4 out of my 6 games were to Icelander.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's rough, especially if the Icelander's good. But I do think it's like if it exists, it's like slightly favored right now, like very very slightly.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I would agree. So, so you want to go into another one of the big bad meta champions here? Probably Oldhim. Let's talk about Oldhim.
Yeah, all my deck lists always start with like Oldhim, Icelander Fai because that's
Yeah,
like the 3
basically.
corners of the format.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like debating how I handle Odin because locally there's like a weak Odin presence.
Okay.
Oh dear, that's my is that okay? Yeah.
We'll do a cut here.
Yeah, my camera's gone basically. I'll just leave it there. It's fine. If it's fine with you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fine with me, man.
yeah. Before this, I was telling Nathan I was keeping up with tape. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So the idea of the Odin matchup is that Clay's idea is that you do the Icelander thing into them, whereby like you trade like 3 for 7s into them,
Mhm.
and that's not wrong. And your goal is to get 3 good blood rushes. And
Yeah.
I tried it. Honestly, it works. And that means right, there's a real argument that you don't run like the risky cards, right? You don't give yourself an opportunity to lose. That's the way I like to say it, right? When you're ahead
Yeah.
of Rhinar, don't find a way to lose the game. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you run Popings and wall rides. That's the thing. So what
I
I
do
did
not.
on that day
Yeah.
is I ran the wall ride. I didn't run the Poping.
Yeah, I don't
So
run
there
either of
was
those cards, but I can see some value. They have really high ceilings when they work. Like really high.
yeah, but it was your 2 for 6s that potentially discard Blood Rush. So I ran the
Yeah.
2 unmovables. I highly recommend 1 energy potion because if the guy's trying to like turtle you out, the energy potion just means that you can like overwhelm the defense a lot easier.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Alpha
But yeah,
Rampages and Barraging Beatdowns close the games, right? Reckless Wing closes that game pretty well too. Yeah.
yeah, it's very clean. One thing I like about like what I don't understand is people running like blue pack hunts. I kind of get it. It's like it guarantees an attack for your blood rush, but like
Yeah.
with clearing Bellow and High Roller, right? Sometimes you just open your hands with like, and all your cards just need to say intimidate, and you win the game. And they're like filler, right? They're good filler.
Yeah, you can drop
Yeah.
them on a blood rush because they cost 0. They don't have any requirements, right?
Yeah.
They just work.
Yeah, that's exactly what I ran on that day. I ran like 1 pummel just to like screw with him, but it cost me, so I wouldn't recommend that. I would just add like another 6 power.
Okay.
Yeah, like honestly, the poppings and wall rides aren't that bad.
No.
And probably not against Odin, but against other decks, or especially if you have an energy potion out, you can like do 26 damage blood rushes and they like die.
Oh man, yeah, like the potions, the heart and cross strap, right? You can do some really huge savage beatdown blood rushes if you have those set up, right?
Yes.
It's crazy. Okay,
Yeah.
so how about the up and coming possible deck to beat Dash?
Okay, so Dash is interesting. Okay,
Yes.
so locally for some reason Dash hasn't gained traction. Our best Dash player is taking like took a break during the PTI. So
Okay.
yeah, he's Brian Kong. He like won like he's been on camera before like and he's played like every like premier event. I have a hard time beating him for some reason. Like his hybrid dash is like near unbeatable.
Dash is hard. It's
Yeah,
a hard matchup. It really is.
yeah. There's an argument that Rhinar is like a silver bullet for dash because
Right.
you can run Arc Smash and then you just like block them out. But the hybrid version is like pretty difficult.
Yeah.
And it's taxing to give them the sideboard slots, right? So like say in your meta you could probably cut that's all you got to put like 2 Arc Smashes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have one Arg Smash in my sideboard list, and even with that, it doesn't feel super safe, right? Like you have to draw
I,
them at the right time, you have to be able to play them, and then you know they have to have items on the table when you find it, right?
yeah, and sometimes you rather just have like 6 damage over
Oh,
Arc Smash.
100%, right? Like yeah, you're spending
Yeah,
your whole turn to like break one item, two items that maybe aren't don't have that much importance over the damage. Yeah, it's kind of a hard choice.
yeah, and Dash likes to mix you up, right? Like they can play different types of Dash. So they're like
Yeah.
full aggro and you like board and pulping, you suffer.
Yep.
I do think one Arc Smash has like a benefit though. Like if they are going for the mech, you just have one Arc Smash in the deck, then you just go
Oh,
for
it's
it.
amazing. Yeah, one shotting the mech is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, but I think if they're going for the mech plan into you, that's like kind of disrespect. So
Yeah.
that's why you can kind of get away with not running it sometimes. Yeah, so it depends on what they're trying to do. If they're full aggro, you block out. If they are full control, you beat them with your good cards because like Rhinar destroys like control dash.
Yep.
Um, but if they're hybrid, right, they're like doing the mid range thing and they're doing it better than you.
Yeah, it's always the mid range one that really messes me up. Like the high octane version always kind of claps me a little bit, where it's like it's
Yeah.
able to pivot and it just does things. Yeah, like you said, it does it a little bit better than we do, right? It does a little bit more
Yeah.
damage. It blocks just as well as we do. It's rough.
Yeah, so it's probably still run claws. You still play to your Blarish turns, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Pummel. The thing about I think Hamilton said it in his podcast. Dash can work with like whatever resources you give them. So say like if I were to pummel them and like it knocks one card off their hand, they
Yeah.
don't really care. They just kind of like do the next most efficient play, which is probably better than your like pummel play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So not exactly certain, but I do think that the matchup is pretty playable. Like
Yeah, I mean it's not an auto lose for sure. It's not an auto lose. It's just hard.
yeah, and a lot of dashes they like to just full aggro. You just block. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, what about, in my opinion, some of our worst matchups? You have Viscerai and Briar.
Yeah, cool. Viscerai sucks.
Yeah,
I
Viscerai's
didn't
the
mention
worst.
before. I think Lightning Lexi is like the worst possible matchup. It freaking sucks. Like I don't even know how like to even begin to win that matchup. It's not like you have to pray that you draw Blood Rush. All right. Viscerai. Okay, so this deck helps because Pummel is very very good into Viscerai.
Okay.
Yeah. Before this PTI, I actually showed up on like the Calling Singapore's stream. I like murdered a Viscerai on camera.
Sick.
Yeah, I didn't use any pummels, but my pulping discarded a pummel, right? And that fear basically like made him play suboptimally for like the remains of the game. He was like, "Oh my god, he was running that the whole time."
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an Icelander who blocked with all of their equipment because they thought I had a pummel in my arsenal. I didn't. You know?
The trick with pummel is you just accept it if it comes. Right?
Yeah, just accept it, yeah.
Yeah, and if you lose the game to the pummel, you've already made a mistake somewhere. So the idea of this, right, is like it kind of like enacts on the pulping plan, right? You're kind of okay with pulping missing this matchup, right? Because if they block with 2 cards, you've won basically. Like you've won the turn cycle.
Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if they give you 2 cards to shut off pulping, that's a fair trade.
Yeah, I do think that like the idea of like trying to push the ratios to make pulping work won't work because you'll do it, you'll make your deck bad, then pulping will miss anyways, and then you like don't gain the benefit. Yeah.
That's how it works, yeah.
Yeah, no, Wall Ride is a curse card, it never works. Okay, so pulping's probably okay. Yeah, I would say something like this. You can kind of keep all fuzz in. If I have energy potion, I keep it in. Yeah, it's just basically like a smooth pulping deck.
Okay.
Pulping pummel deck. Your goal is to basically raise them. The thing is, Viscerai Strength is their 3-card hands are like insanely good.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to like pressure them. If you have Viscerai in your meta, put 3 raise face. It helps a ton.
Oh, it does, yeah, for sure. The Race Face is such a good tech card into Viscerai and Dash, actually.
But the trick is you have to play fast. Like they are even better at fire at chipping you to death. So you just have to hope that your hands are pretty good and you treat them to death. The Viscerai that I beat is because he was tagged against Isylander. So all his 2-cost attacks were 1-cost attacks instead. So instead of running the Spellblade Assault, he ran Spellblade Strike. Yeah, so he lost like a lot of damage throughout the game, but it's understandably so. Isylander's still a presence, right?
Yeah, and you're not really expecting to see a Rhinar that often, so.
Yeah, and it was still a really close game. I barely edged out because like my endgame was slightly there. If he could swing Rosetta one more time, I died. Run Naurun, but yeah.
This is just a bad matchup. I mean, the way I normally run into it is like I do take the Null Rune gloves, obviously, and then you know, I run sigils. The sigils help a lot into Viscerai, and then, you know, it's really like you said, like you just got to go for it, right? You got to kill him as fast as you can.
Sigils are okay, but the things they're not proactive. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
just
they're
kind of like
not.
lose slower.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say something important is Ice Lexi, if you want to go through that.
Yeah,
Because
let's do Ice
that's a
Lexi.
breakout deck from Singapore. Okay, so Ice Lexi. I'm going to assume that all versions of Lexi are Ice Lexi. The list that did well in Singapore, that list is kind of nuts. I believe if my opponent drew slightly better, I wouldn't have had a chance. Like,
Okay.
in the first game against him in the Swiss, I basically had a Smash in 6 stuck in Arsenal throughout the entire game.
Oh
Because
no.
because I just didn't draw the blue to get it out, and basically it was just super inefficient and he didn't break. And I don't think you should rely on the deck to break to beat them.
Yeah, what variant of Ice Lexi was it? Was like the dominate version, your typical kind of like the on hit version. What was it?
It's something like what Yuki ran in like the first Pro Tour. It's
Okay,
it's like Voltaire with like ice.
Okay, that
And
makes
Drill
sense.
Shot is a stupidly good card. That card is not fair.
Drill Shot is so good. Yes.
Yeah.
Wild
They don't even run
card.
Heat Seeker, and I think Heat Seeker's nuts. Like okay, so it's gonna suck because they're gonna like throw you a frostbite, but you still need to run Sing Below. It's out of respect. You just need to do it.
Absolutely
You
agree.
can use your tunic to get rid of the frostbite. That's important.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, if not, that'll be miserable. I would say Unmovable stuck into that deck.
Yeah,
You need to play
probably.
around your CNCs. You definitely need to play around your CNCs.
Yeah.
Because they give you the window to like fight back, and besides that, your goal is to swing club. The idea of why like it's a club matchup, not a claw matchup, is because it's very low resource. You're never gonna get a good blood rush turn off, so you just like hit them with club every turn, as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Club
possibly-
seems. I mean, I agree. Club is like by far our best weapon choice into Ice Lexi. Like, it's just so efficient.
It's because the claws are like bad here. You don't get blood rushes in this matchup.
Yeah, you don't get to go super wide. You just don't. Too many frostbites,
Yeah.
too many on hits, too many discards.
But yeah, I would say that's like the cornerstones of the meta game that you have to worry about.
Okay.
There's Kano locally, and I have no idea what the hell to do about that one. I'm pretty sure the answer is to kill them dead, but like that's like not always how it works out. So
No, Kano. I think Kano's on the rise. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more Kano this upcoming season. And yeah, you got to kill him in like 3 turns because he'll kill you in 3 turns. It's crazy.
yeah, it's the battle hardened and Chewing was playing Kano on like both events because he was like, I'm bored of Isylander, so he was on that. He killed a Fai on turn 0, or no, on turn 1.
Yeah.
He lit energy potion, he arsenal, and he just killed a guy on the following turn. I was like, holy crap! What?
Yeah. One of the guys on
Never
my
seen-
locals did this. Like, he didn't quite outright kill him, but he did like 36 damage turn 1. Like, what is going on?
I think his number was 47. I think he got 47, which is like holy shit.
Jeez. That's crazy.
Kano's crazy now. You gotta be worried, but I'm not sure
I'm
what you
worried.
can do to tech against it.
You just gotta go
Yeah.
fast. Kill him fast. Don't let him. Don't let him
Right.
hit you.
Right now helps because you in a matchup you should like always start with an intimidate. Like you always barraging people down to
100%.
force them to react to you.
Yeah, force them to make a decision. Force them to play their cards. I tech up my blue count recently when I was with my testing with Islander and Kano. So like I'm going up to 20 blues, and it feels way better. And then I just go for just go ham, right? Like try and kill him.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's no choice. Yeah.
All right, and there you have it, everybody. Big thank you to Jose Lau here for walking us through his deck list. Just took down a PTI event in Singapore.
Yes,
Champion in the making. Do you have any plans for next year, actually? Are you participating in any tournaments early next year?
Okay, so we got ProQuest, and we
Okay.
have a calling somewhere in Singapore during July. So, for the ProQuest, I'll be like trying other things. I'll default on Rhinar if I don't find anything, but I wanna like, I think Dory's nuts.
I think so too, actually, yeah.
Yeah, she's like Rhinar for like control, except for against aggro, cause the sword, right? And I'm gonna try Arachne. It's probably not gonna turn out well, but yeah.
No, probably not. I've been trying him a lot. I don't know. He's
Yeah,
he's
but
pretty close.
yeah, but besides that, I've played Rhinar for 2 years. It's kind of boring. I'll play for armies like when I'm really bored, but like probably like won't be like experimenting too much with new tech.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I look forward to seeing your name on some of those ProQuest wins there, and then obviously
so.
in that big event that's kind of sometime around January or July, you said.
Yeah.
So do you have any shout outs, anything you want to call out at the end of this video?
Okay, I would like to thank firstly Alexander Dobler. He's top 8 Battle Hardened Singapore, and his list is very similar.
Okay.
My list that I ran in Battle Hardened sucked, but I was like talking to him throughout the event. I was watching him destroy people. So yeah, a lot of the decks ideas is from him.
That's awesome.
Would like to thank Nitya and like Clay for like inspiring like various ideas and like letting me bounce off like Rhinar ideas. Cause like locally there are some Rhinar guys, but the thing is, I would say like I don't like. It's nice to have ideas from other places because like if not, it becomes a bit echo chambery.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yep. My Instagram is Tornadoes You Sketched. I mostly post my updates there and like I paint. So
Cool.
there's that. Yes, and my Twitter Pitch 2 Swing Club, which I'll occasionally like spout what Rhino wisdom if I get a following. Yeah.
All right. So with that, everybody, I'll put all his links for his social media down below, and then go ahead, like and subscribe on our channel.
Yes, please. Yes.
And let's cheer him on his competitive season in 2023. All right.
Yes. Oh, and I'll also be at Worlds. So if anyone's there, do say hi. Yeah, I'm very friendly. Trust me.
Well, I'll be at Worlds too, so we can hang out.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah. All right. I'll see you. All right. Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Have a great day.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Yes.